Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up here in the Big 12 in Week 8 of this 2021 college football season. And it'll be over the Oklahoma State Cowboys and the Iowa State Cyclones. Huge matchup for each of these teams coming up here in Week 8. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with their team trends. Oklahoma State last week won against Texas on the road. 32-24 was the final score there. Solid win for the Cowboys, and this team is continue to get quality wins. I mean, this is their fourth straight quality win, and we'll get into more about that in a little bit. But, I mean, obviously, Texas is a good football team, and Oklahoma State went in there and got a big win against a top 25 team there by 8. And obviously, I mean, this team is still undefeated at 6-0, and they're a big dark horse contender right now for the college football playoff. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, this team is, I mean, they're in line right now to face off against Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. And if the Cowboys win that game, this team is in the college football playoffs. So, I mean, there's a lot at stake here for Oklahoma State heading into this matchup. I mean, even if you take one loss here in the regular season, it's really tough to see a Big 12 team in the college football playoff, especially with how insane this year has been. But for Oklahoma State, yeah, this is a football team that is very underrated right now. And I think, I mean, they're in the background of the college football playoff picture with no doubt right now. As for Iowa State, beat Kansas State 33-20, solid win for the Cyclones, and that was a road game as well. And obviously Kansas State, that's a good football team. So Iowa State heads into this game as a 4-2 football team, and overall not a terrible record for the Cyclones. And I mean, once again, Iowa State is a very talented football team. Like we were saying that all offseason about how this team was going to be a Big 12 contender, and so far they've kind of underperformed for sure. But I mean, Iowa State, this is still a very skilled football team without a doubt. Game will be on Saturday, October 23rd in Ames, Iowa. So Cyclones are the home team here, and it'll be an afternoon game, 2:30 p.m. Central Time is the time for this matchup. Spread currently has Iowa State by 7. That really surprised me seeing that at first. I mean, you got a top 10 team, number 8 team in the country going to an unranked team, and the unranked team is favored by 7. I mean, so yeah, it's a pretty favorable spread for Iowa State, that's for sure. Over-under is 47, and the FPI is going Iowa State here 78%. So spread and FPI are going with Iowa State here pretty significantly, especially considering we got a top 10 team here. But serious history, Oklahoma State leads at 33-19. Win streak is Oklahoma State by 2, and in the last 5, Cowboys lead at 4-1. So Oklahoma State has had more success in recent history for this matchup, even though Iowa State obviously, I mean, Iowa State, this is a football team that really, I mean, once again, if you guys were hearing my previews on this team all offseason, I was expecting Iowa State to potentially win the Big 12 and be in the top 6, maybe at the end of the season. And Iowa State so far, I mean, they got Brock Purdy. This offense is outstanding to say the least. Like Breece Hall, I was expecting him to be one of the best running backs in the country, which I'd say he still is, even though we haven't seen the stats that we expected. But I mean, yeah, this offense especially is tough to beat. So Oklahoma State's defense is really going to have to come to play here if they want to get a win. Stat comparison here, 26 points per game for Oklahoma State, 19 points allowed, 212 passers a game, 169 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 208 passing, 98 rushing. And as for Iowa State, 33 points per game, 16 points allowed, 250 passers a game, 187 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 153 passing, and then 97 for rushing. So this Iowa State defense, give them credit as well, allowing only 153 pass yards per game so far this season. That is a very good stat, especially in the Big 12 where we mainly see offensive teams. I mean, yeah, if you can keep that number under 200 for pass yards allowed, that's usually a very good stat. And Iowa State is significantly below that at 153. So, yeah, that's definitely something to watch out for. I mean, this defense for Iowa State definitely deserves some big credit as well for how well they've played. Recent matchups for each of these teams as well. Oklahoma State, obviously you beat Texas, Baylor, and Kansas State in back-to-back games. And all top 25 teams, by the way. Kansas State was 25th, beat them by 11, beat Baylor by 10. Baylor's now 6-1, coming off of a huge win against BYU. So that Baylor win has got a lot of value to it, especially winning by 10 there. And you did beat Boise State on the road 21-20. Usually a tough place to play there, especially in a non-conference game. So that was also a big win. And Oklahoma State, they got a lot of momentum going into this matchup. They've been playing very well on the road. That's also another thing to mention here. With 4 straight quality wins. I mean, all 4 games were somewhat close, but a win's a win, that's for sure. They did beat Tulsa 20-23 as well. Not the best win at all. I mean, this Oklahoma State team knows how to win games that are close. That's for sure. I mean, if you look at their scoring, that will be evidence for that. Iowa State beat Kansas State 33-20, beat Kansas 59-7, lost to Baylor there 29-31. So that's something to mention there. Oklahoma State beat Baylor while Iowa State lost to them. Beat UNLV 48-3 there, and also lost to Iowa 17-27. And Iowa was just ranked number 2 last week. So that's obviously a very good football team there. But yeah, for Iowa State, it's going to be very interesting to see if they can get a quality win here. I mean, we've seen a couple of, that Kansas State win is probably the best one of the season so far for Iowa State. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not this team can beat a ranked team. Like, they've got the talent to do so. There's no doubt. Like, this is a football team that's probably got their best roster, I would say, in the past. I mean, it's been a very long time since this Iowa State team has had so much talent. Like, last year they were very good, and they returned mostly everyone, most all-impact players from last season. So, I mean, yeah, this is a team that's got a lot of talent here, and they're definitely, I think, capable of winning a big game like this. It's just a matter of if they do. Key points for this one, obviously, you got Oklahoma State still 6-0. They have been riddled with injuries. That is definitely something to watch out for here. I mean, we've seen an injured offense for sure here with Oklahoma State, so that could make a big impact on this football team. So definitely be aware of that here. 4 straight quality wins though for Oklahoma State. This team has done well despite that. And I mean, potential national contender with a win here. I mean, this Oklahoma State team is, I would say, already a national contender at number 8. I mean, the Big 12 definitely is very capable of bringing a team into the college football playoff. And I mean, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, if they play each other in the Big 12 championship and both teams are undefeated, the winner of that game should go to the college football playoff. So there's a lot that Oklahoma State is playing for here. Like, this team is a legit contender, I would say, for the playoff right now. So definitely be aware of that. And for Iowa State, still a lot to play for as well. I mean, this Iowa State team is, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to make it to a New Year's Six bowl game, but it's still definitely within reason. I mean, even if you go 9-3 or 10-2, you should be in the contending for a New Year's Six bowl game at least. So definitely be aware of that. But lots of potential on both sides of the ball for sure for Iowa State. They've had 2 close losses to ranked teams as well. So obviously, I mean, this is a very talented football team. Definitely something to be aware of here for Iowa State. But with that said, let's get to the prediction here for Oklahoma State and Iowa State. I'm going to go Cowboys here, 27-24, and that's kind of a bold prediction coming, obviously, with Iowa State being a home team in Ames and also Oklahoma State with their injuries. But I think Cowboys, this team has done very well in close games, 27-24. I'm going to go with them. They performed just fine on the road as well, so that doesn't concern me too much, even though Iowa State is obviously favored by 7 in the spread. That's something to be aware of. But probability, I'm going to go 55% for Oklahoma State. I could easily see both teams winning here. I mean, Iowa State is very capable of winning this game here without a doubt. I mean, once again, we've seen the talent that this team has. Over-under is 47. I'm taking the over just slightly for this matchup at 51 total points. So, but once again, I expect the Cowboys. I mean, this is a football team that's got a lot to play for right now, and I mean, they've got a playoff spot that's potentially, I mean, right there for Oklahoma State. So there's a lot to play for, especially for them. But that said, let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. See you guys later.